were your loans looking like?
It was very scary.
A little under $250,000.
What's your salary now after completing the program and starting?
It's like 367,000.
How many years of schooling was that?
Probably about 15.
Do you have a plan for paying off the loans?
Not yet. I don't have one yet.
Any advice you'd give any upcoming med students?
I don't care.
The average medical school graduate owes a total of $250,000 to student loan debt. In this video, we're gonna find out if that's really true, so I pull up to the Vanderbilt University Medical Center to talk to real students, real medical professionals, and hopefully a real doctor. But I have one issue. Everyone's gonna be busy saving lives, so somehow I'm gonna have to stop them in their tracks and then ask them personal questions like, how did you pay for school? How many years did it take? And how much debt do you actually have? Also, we're gonna get some advice on how we can pay for our education without using student debt. Let's go. How many years of school have you been in so far?
So 4 undergrad, 1 master's, 4 years of med school, so 9 total prior to this.
And how many more years of residency do you have?
Finished the first, so 3 more to go.
How did you fund your undergrad?
So undergrad, I was lucky, parents covered that, master's as well, but med school is where I had to take out loans and cover those 4 years.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, your parents help cover masters too?
Yeah, so that was a big thing for my family, is that education is kind of an expectation. So my spoiling, if anything, was education. Yeah.
How much loans did you take out for medical school?
It would have been a little under $250,000.
Did you go out of state?
Yes, I was up in Boston at Tufts.
Do you have a plan for paying off the loans?
Yeah, the one thing we do have is public service loan forgiveness. So that's my current plan, paying it off. I want to say it's like 10% of your salary for a decade, and then it's forgiven, but it's the current plan.
Is there a plan B if that doesn't pull through?
Not yet. I don't have one yet.
At least you'll be a doctor. You'll have a pretty big shovel to dig yourself from.
That's what we say. That's what we say, but it's always better having the plan now, because otherwise you're stuck paying even more.
I'm a professor in pathology, microbiology, and immunology at VUMC here.
How many years of experience do you have?
Probably about 15.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many years of school did you take too?
4 years of undergrad, 4 years of veterinary school, and then a 5-year residency and PhD, and 1 year of postdoc.
We're looking at 15 plus years?
It's too many. I think I got my first real job when I was 30.
How did you pay for school? Scholarships, loans? What was the mix? What did it look like?
Good question. It was scholarships through undergraduate, in veterinary school loans, and then everything after that was actually something I got paid for.
Do you know how much in scholarships you were rewarded to pay for undergrad?
Well, it was a few years ago, but it was something along the lines of about $10,000 a year.
Man, that's good. Were you in-state?
Yes.
Oh, heck yeah. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
That's a hack for a lot of people, man. Go to in-state.
Huge hack, especially if you're going to professional school. I say always go in-state.
What were your thoughts when you first looked at loans for paying for veterinarian school?
It was very scary because it's a huge amount of money, right? So the big thing for me was just to live as cheaply as possible. So I found whatever free meal I could get a hold of while I was in vet school.
Yeah, frugal living, man. Some people we talked to, they had loans up to like $200,000. What were your loans looking like?
Yeah, I went in-state, so I was somewhere around, after 4 years of veterinary school, about $80,000. But that was a few years ago. More expensive these days.
What was your strategy to pay off that debt?
Yeah, I don't think I was smart enough to have a strategy, honestly. What worked for me is going into that residency and PhD program, being able to get a loan repayment program. So as long as I was studying that infectious disease that was underrepresented and I got that grant, they were able to pay off all of my loans. So I was lucky that I was able to get them fully paid off by the time I started my real job.
After talking to a few people, I realized that there are plenty of creative ways to get into healthcare without having to go through some expensive graduate program. So I talked to a couple awesome nurses who were super open about their cost of education.
My name is David. I'm a registered nurse at Vanderbilt in the operating room.
How many years have you been in your career?
Yeah, man, so I've been a nurse for about 2.5 years. I've been in the operating room for about 2 of those. I've been at Vanderbilt for probably about 1.5 years.
How long was school for you? And can you break it down for us?
Sure, absolutely. So schooling, I have an associate's degree in nursing. It's probably about 2 years nursing school. I had a bachelor's degree before that, so I had a lot of my prereqs done. So I had probably about a year of prereqs I had to do ahead of that. So all in all, it's probably about 3 years of schooling. 3 years? Yeah.
You didn't have to go to grad school or anything?
No, man, not at all. Basically, yeah, it's like going to trade school almost, super easy.
How did you fund your education?
I utilized community college. Like I said, I had a bachelor's degree before, so I wasn't eligible for Pell Grants or anything like that. So I just went to community college. My whole education was like $7,000 out of pocket. I just paid for it all out of pocket, yeah.
Did you work during school or anything like that?
Yeah, man, yeah. So I'm a husband and a father. I have 2 little girls, so I had to work full-time through school, which it was a little rough at times, but, you know, I'm here. It was worth it.
Community college, use it, man.
Yeah.
Some people laugh at it like it's some kind of joke, but no, it's like same education, way cheaper.
Yeah, man.
My name's Ren Atkinson. I'm a critical care nurse practitioner.
How many years of school was that to get there?
Okay, that was 4 years of undergrad, and then I did a part-time 3-year graduate program.
Did you have to take any gap years?
Yes, I'm sorry. I took 2 years where I was just working full-time.
How did you fund your undergrad education?
Undergrad education it was a state school, so in-state, and I worked at the Gap on the side. I didn't take any loans for undergrad.
Nice. All out of pocket, just
All
cash
out of
flowed it?
pocket, Yeah, with the state tuition benefit.
Were there any scholarships that helped out?
Yeah, the Hope Scholarship. Here in Tennessee.
And then when it came to grad school, how did you fund that education?
Yeah, I worked as part-time here at Vanderbilt, and they subsidized like 80% of graduate school, as long as you know a certain amount of credit hours each semester, which is why I had to do it over 3 years. But it ended up that they paid about 80% of my graduate school, as long as I was working full-time for them. You have to work full-time to get the tuition benefit. It's tough. It's a huge time crunch because you're working full-time and in school, but that was the only way to get the tuition benefit.
What advice would you give a student that's living that schedule and maybe feeling not so motivated?
It's worth it. Not only do you get practical experience of working full time, if you're in the field that you're getting your graduate education in, but I had no loans at the end of it. So it's a grueling few years, but it pays out in the end, and not just financially, but I got a lot of great experience from both.
How did you know about those options, to pay for school and go through it cheaper?
Good question. I think it was a lot of word of mouth. A lot of my colleagues talked about the tuition benefit when I was working full time, and as I started to dig more into it, I realized that I was a good candidate for it and I could apply.
I feel like that's where you get the best, like the scoop on everything, is
Yeah.
when you're just talking to people in the field.
Yeah.
You don't really get much from Google, or at least it's very not very straight up on there. So.
Yeah.
Shout out to Vanderbilt, because they got some very practical people out here. I even talked to a few healthcare employees that didn't need a college degree at all in order to start their job. And don't worry, I was still looking out for a medical doctor this whole time.
I'm a surgical technologist.
How many years of schooling was that?
Just one.
How does that program work? Like, how did you apply for it? Were there any prerequisites?
No prerequisites. You just apply and you take the HESI exam. It's kind of competitive. My program only took 20 students, so they went based off of test scores only. But it was a year of school. Half of it was class time, half of it was clinicals, lots of labs.
How much did that program cost?
For me, it was probably about a little under $10,000.
Did you pay out of pocket for that or with loans?
I paid out of pocket.
What did you do to save up for it?
I worked 2 jobs to save money for school. I worked in a restaurant and I was a nanny.
And then look at the ROI now on that investment. Do you mind sharing what's your salary now after completing the program and starting?
Yeah, at Vanderbilt, starting out, I will be making about $51,000.
My name is Tony. I'm a care partner. I work in surgery.
How did you pay for school?
I didn't go to school here. I didn't graduate. I was just lucky to slip through the back door.
What was the education or certification needed to get into that?
I didn't have to go get certified at that time. I got certified here at work. They were so short. The ground wing, they certified us here.
How long did that take?
It took a couple months.
How much did the program cost for anyone that's interested?
I don't know how much it costs, but I know it pays great. Most definitely.
Good return on your investment?
Yes, it is.
There we go. Now I know you clicked on this video to see more medical residents and doctors, but to be honest, I got rejected by a ton of them. Most of them were getting off 12-hour shifts and really kind of looked dead inside, but that wasn't until we ran into this woman.
Mom, I gotta go. I gotta talk to these people about that school really quick. You want me to have my Diet Coke in it? People are gonna know that I'm gonna give myself cancer. My name's Marley. I'm an EM intern here at Vanderbilt.
Why did you decide on this path?
I decided on EM because when I was going through my clinicals, I liked everything. And I was like, oh my God, surgery's so cool. I can use my hands. And I was like, psychiatry's so interesting. I really like kids. I really like adults. And it's the best of every world.
It was after working, getting experience,
Absolutely.
then you could really hone in on this
I
one.
came in doing infectious disease, so I really 180'd it.
In undergrad, how did you fund your education?
So I went to a state school, and so I got a lot of scholarships from being there. I'm from Wyoming originally, so they have a lot of local scholarships because we have so few people.
You took advantage, you milked that. Heck
Yep.
yeah. And how did you pay for medical school?
Wyoming again, because there's no state medical school, they pay for a subsection of their students to go to the University of Washington. So I owe them 3 years once I'm done with residency.
To go back and work there.
And then they paid for 80% of my med school. Yeah, it's a really good deal. It's the cheapest way to go to med school in the nation, I think.
Did you feel this pressure to go out of state and to go to those more popular med schools?
I think yes, initially. initially, and then you realize that it's much more about fit for med school than like a brand name or something like that. And the University of Washington's big on like rural care and austere experiences, and that's what I'm ultimately interested in. So
What would your medical school have cost without any scholarship
think
or support?
out of state for the University of Washington was something like $75K a year, which is too much.
Over $250,000.
Yes.
And you've knocked it down to where you're only responsible for 20% of
Yes.
that.
And so then I did student loans for the rest of it.
How much of student loans did you pull
I
for
think
this?
I took out 120 in total for like living expenses and things like that.
That's
Yeah.
for everything for
Yeah.
the next 4 years. Did you have any kind of financial education before going into school?
No, and I should have, definitely, but didn't have any.
Gotcha.
Just kind of showed up.
What advice would you give to upcoming med students then when it comes to financing it? Like the things you did a lot of things right, but then there's also things you probably would change too.
I would look for the unique opportunities that are out there, and then I would harass and annoy your loan servicers at both your undergrad and your med school to get the best deal with like consolidation and grad plus loans and whatever you need to get it done as cheaply as possible. They're the experts. Do not feel bad about annoying them.
Yeah, that's their job.
That's what I'm saying.
She kept it so real with us. Then we met this medical resident who also revealed how much debt he used for both undergrad and grad school. You might be shocked by how much.
My name is Brandon. I am currently a surgical resident here doing ECMO fellowship. Career path, hopefully, will to do cardiothoracic surgery.
How many years of school have you had so far?
5.5 of undergrad, 4 of med school, so far 4 of residency, so
14 years?
a long time.
How did you pay for that 5.5 years of undergrad?
Federal student loans,
All of it?
all of it.
Did you go out of state or in state?
In-state for undergrad, out-of-state for medical school.
And when it came to med school, how were you funding that?
Federal student loans.
Why didn't you go private student loans?
Interest rates too high.
In your head, do you know, like ballpark, how much student loan debt you currently have?
Oh yeah, it's like 367,000.
What's your feeling when you see that right now?
I don't care.
Yeah.
Nothing to worry about right now. Public service loan forgiveness is a thing, something that everybody should kind of go after if they have the chance, but right now I'm not really worried about it, I guess.
What's the salary you're hoping for after you graduate?
Oh, man, I don't know, that's tough. It's not really too much about the salary, I guess, but I just want to be able to do what I want to do. That's kind of more important. The money and all that, that'll come no matter what really you do.
Why were you inspired to go down this path?
I like surgery in general. You get immediate results or you get immediate problems that you have to then solve. I like the complexity, the variability. It's good for me, so.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Any advice you'd give any upcoming med students?
Do the work. It's more of a marathon, and it's a litmus test of stamina. Who can do the work the longest and the hard work? That's what I think gets you the furthest, so.
And just as we were about to go home, disappointed that we couldn't talk to a doctor, I saw this dude walk past me wearing this bright badge saying MD. So I went for it.
I funded my education, student loans.
Student loans?
Yeah.
Can you share how much?
How much do I currently owe, or how much did I owe at the end?
How much you owed at the beginning and then where you're currently at?
I don't know how much I owed at the beginning. I think where I'm currently at, I think I owe like 50K. But I'm 4 years out of 5 years out of residency.
Oh, nice.
You know, I think that originally I ended up with like a little over 200,000.
A little over 200?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great, man. You trucked along the last 5 years. All right.
Nice talking to you.
You have a good one, man. Appreciate it. So in classic MD fashion, this man literally told me to walk with him as he did his interview. It felt like I was on the show like The Good Doctor or Grey's Anatomy. All in all, over these interviews, we learned that student loan debt is not the only option to fund your education. There are so many different paths you can go on, so many different programs you can sign up for. So go out there, start working, talk to people in your field so that you can get the real scoop on how you can get the career that you really want. If you want to learn about how to pay off other forms of debt, I have a video right here where I talk to people about credit card debt. I'm sure you guys would enjoy that too. Until next time, peace.